Hi guys, it's Kathy. I fixed the sound issue, I think. I'm about to find out. I'm waiting for my own voice to hit me back from the live, but there's no one in here right now. No one even knows I started, but maybe they'll figure it out, maybe they won't. From there we go, the live, but we're good. We're good. I'm going to tell Discord we're good, and then I'm going to get going. Okay, send message. If no one shows up because of all this bumbling and fumbling, that's fine. You can watch it later. We're going to keep this OJ trial going, though. Now, if you are here, though, you get a special treat because we're going to do the Bronco. We're going to do the Bronco chase. Not the whole Bronco chase. Just 4 minutes of the Bronco chase. Because we've been talking about it, but I only showed like a little tiny bit at the beginning. So, let's go. Let's do the Bronco chase.
I'm going to have to interrupt this call. I understand we're going to go to a live picture in Los Angeles. Is that correct? Okay. This is Interstate 5, and this is courtesy of KCALR, one of our LA affiliates. Police believe that O.J. Simpson is in that car. Now they're telling me that they believe that this vehicle is registered to Al Cowlings, one of O.J.'s oldest friends, a teammate at Southern Cal. And they believe that Al Cowling, who's the other person they're looking for, who was with O.J. earlier today, they believe that this is the car. We do not know this is the car. They're going south through Orange County, but nobody is pulling this car over. And we could only guess as to why not.
Right, I guess they're just being
They
careful.
may fear that there are arms in that car. They may fear that Simpson may harm himself. Now, police radio is saying that Simpson has a gun at his head. Reuters is reporting that the police tracked O.J. Simpson through his cellular phone.
Look at all the cars on this next bridge, man.
That's a helicopter reporting, talking to KCAL, saying, look at all those cars on that bridge looking down. This is living drama. There's nothing else you can say, but we're going to stay with it. California Highway Patrol has now confirmed to CNN that it is definitely Al Cowling's vehicle. And they are almost certain that O.J. is in the passenger seat. The cars on the top of the screen heading east on that freeway are just slowing down to look and get a glimpse of one of the icons of American sports history, O.J. Simpson, on this tragic June day. This is Larry King as we stay atop this scene. Jim Hill, famed sportscaster in Los Angeles, an old friend, a former athlete, old friend of O.J. Simpson, is going on radio in Los Angeles.
Still going westbound 91, just
appealing
approaching
to O.J.
the
Simpson
710 freeway.
to turn himself in. The last thing Jim said was, O.J., you were a man, you are a man, be a man, turn yourself in. Earlier today, Robert Shapiro had arranged for O.J. to turn himself in. Doctors were in attendance. They were all going to go together in a car because they were worried about suicide. When they went downstairs from a conference room in O.J.'s house, he was gone. They're going to go right toward the Beverly Hills, Santa Monica, Brentwood areas where O.J. lives and where the two people killed also lived.
It is an amazing sight. Along the right-hand shoulder, people have pulled over, many of them carrying signs such as signs reading things like "Save the Juice," "Go OJ." People are literally cheering him on as he travels northbound on the 405, and we can only assume that he plans to get off at Sunset and go towards perhaps his home.
He's on the off-ramp now, coming up the off-ramp at Sunset.
That's right.
Looks like he's in the left lane now.
Yeah.
Making a left turn. The intersection is free and he's clear, and now making his left turn westbound on Sunset.
All right. And he is pulling in to the driveway.
Coming around.
Someone is going to the door right now, Eric.
Okay, we're pulling up. Let me tell you what I can see. We've just turned the corner. It's total chaos here. Motorcycles, black and whites, people running around, officers getting out of their cars with their batons.
We have found him. The door is opening, and let's see what happens now. We'll watch with you. This is the driver's side of the vehicle.
Okay, someone just got out of the vehicle, approaching the front door, dressed in black, and entered. Looks like they entered the front of the house there. Possibly O.J. Simpson.
Maybe I'm foolish, maybe I'm blind, thinking I can see through this and see what's behind.
Well, that was pretty good. So that was the police chase. We didn't get to see him arrested, but I guess no police officer wanted to get near him, apparently. When I have a police chase, they're very, very close to me. I guess I'm more lovable than O.J. Simpson. Okay. We're still in the preliminary hearing, but we're on day 2. So this is about 43 minutes long, and I'm going to stop there because then the courts are really going. So we're going to do one video today. And I know it says that this is 1994. I know he just said that they tracked him on his cellular data. Ooh. But this is the 80s to me. In my head, this is the 80s. And it always will be. Look at the hair. How can you say this is 90s when look at the hair? I guess media's lying to me. This is the 80s, guys. I'm not going to believe any different. Unless Linus tells me. I know. All the phones had wires hanging from them.
All right, the record should reflect now that the defendant is present with counsel. You may be seated if you wish. And would counsel state their appearances for the record?
Good morning. Robert Montefiore and Sarah Bowman for Mr. Simpson.
And good morning, Your Honor. William Hodgman for the people.
Marcia Clark for the people. Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. All right, there are a number of matters on calendar today. I think one matter that can be resolved in fairly short order, and that relates to the hair sample that the court did grant an order for a hair sample. The defense submitted an order to the court requesting to limit that hair sample to 1 hair. I did have my clerk contact the district attorney's office to determine whether they were in agreement with that order, and the indication was that they were not, and therefore I've done nothing with regard to that order to this point. Ms. Clark, how much hair do the people need?
Well, Your Honor, hair samples, as I'm sure the defense must be aware, in order to be effectively compared with an evidence sample recovered from a crime scene, has to be taken from each area of the suspect's head. And that means that a minimum of 5 to 10 hairs from each area, which usually amounts to about 100 hairs. Any scientist, no matter how inexperienced, is aware of that fact. You cannot do an effective comparison between a known standard and an evidence standard without that size of sample.
So you're asking for 100 hairs?
We're asking for as many hairs as the criminalist or expert determines is necessary to effectively compare the standard hairs from the head of the defendant with the hairs found at the crime scene. And I've never seen a court attempt to restrict that, because that is obviously a matter that a criminalist would have to determine based on what he can recover.
Mr. Shapiro?
Your Honor, according to Dr. Henry Lee, our chief criminalist, who is the head of the Department of Criminology in Connecticut, he tells us 1 to 3 hairs are sufficient. I think perhaps this may be an appropriate matter for the court to have a hearing on. I think 100 hairs is unduly invasive. Makes the inventorying of the hairs a very, very difficult task, and certainly allows for the possibility of the commingling of samples, which could contaminate any test. So we would ask for a 300. I've been practicing for.
It's not a huge deal to inventory 100 hairs, and it doesn't make the commingling of hairs more probable. He just lied.
Well, I've never ever heard of such a request.
Right. This is what I'm prepared to do at this point in time, and that is to order no more than 10 hairs at this point. If the prosecution at some point feels that they are in need of more hairs than the 10 that I'm going to allow at this point, then we will have that hearing with experts if necessary. This is not a matter that the court has independent expert knowledge concerning. So that's going to be the order at this point in time, subject to a further hearing with evidence, if necessary, from both sides for anything beyond 10 hairs.
Your Honor, I don't think that counsel has conferred with Mr. Lee concerning the nature of the test involved. If Mr. Lee is, and if Mr. Lee has informed counsel that only 1 to 3 hairs are needed for microscopic comparison, then he has misinformed counsel, and I can state that categorically. I'm very surprised to hear Mr. Shapiro has never heard of the number of hairs I have just indicated to the court being required before, because that is a standard thing. When a microscopic analysis is endeavored, it is required that you have standards from every area of the head, 10 hairs per area. That's a standard. I'm not talking about anything unusual here.
Right,
and what Mr. Lee is talking about, Your Honor, is PCR work. That's a whole different thing. We're not talking about comparison only for PCR. We're talking about comparison for microscopic as well.
All right. This is what I indicated I was willing to do at this point. You're of the opinion, and it may indeed be the correct conclusion, that you're going to need more than that. And the bottom line is that if, in fact, you do need more than that, you are going to have to produce an expert to justify that to the court. And if indeed that justification is made, I will sign an appropriate order.
Thank you, Your Honor. We will present that testimony today.
Today?
Yes.
Very well.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Now, yes.
On that, before you do that issue, we do not have an indication as to how many follicles or shafts were found that the people are doing these for a point of comparison. And we asked the court to consider it for you so we would have knowledge of that.
Yes. Ms. Clark, do you know the answer to that question at this point?
I was told just this morning, and I not recall. I'm not going to make a representation. We have an expert here who can tell the court precisely how many follicles and how many shafts there are.
All right.
I'd rather let them say.
Now, you indicate you do have an expert here. Do you want to proceed on this issue of the number of hairs right now, or would you prefer to do that sometime later? What is your preference?
Well, Your Honor, as I understand it, the court had required us to proceed this morning on the issue of the blood split that was requested. So the expert who is going to testify to that matter can also address the matter of the hairs, because she's the director of the crime lab for the Los Angeles Police Department. So we can do it all at once.
All right, that would be fine. Mr. Shapiro, I assume that
Guys,
you're
did we see this?
prepared on the hair issue?
I thought we were at video 7, but did we see this yesterday? If you think we saw this yesterday, let me know, and I will bump it forward one.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right. Then let's also, then in conjunction with the determination of the number of hairs, there remains the determination of the sufficiency of certain blood samples for defense splits. Now, I also should mention that the court is in receipt of the defense motion that was filed to quash and traverse and to suppress certain evidence. And attached as an exhibit to the defense motion was a property report listing certain items of evidence. I think 1 through 34 are denoted there. Is it correct that all of the scientific evidence about which that we're speaking about splitting is included in those items 1 through 34?
I don't believe so, Your Honor. I believe the scientific evidence related to items recovered at the scene of the homicide, 875 Indy. The the motion only goes to the evidence that was obtained at the home of Mr. Simpson.
All right. Does anyone have something to provide to the court with a listing of what specific items we're dealing with if there's going to be different testimony concerning a particular item that was received in evidence, and the court would ultimately be making orders perhaps differing or designating certain samples that would be split and certain samples that would not be split? It would certainly be helpful to the court to have some sort of a number, and the way it's denoted in the property report would make sense, since that's the way all of you will be dealing with the evidence and the criminalists as well. Is there a copy of a property report that could be made available just for the court's use in keeping track of the items of evidence, scientific evidence that we're dealing with, that either of you might have?
I do not.
Okay. If somebody could hand that to my clerk, it would greatly assist me during this motion.
This one's frankincense. And then I also have Kama Sutra. I am 90% sure we saw this yesterday, so bumping it ahead. Once
All
you
right,
brought
then,
those papers over, I knew.
All right, we're once again on the record, a case of People versus Simpson. The defendant is present with counsel. The people are represented. Mr. Shapiro, I assume that you do now have a copy of the curriculum vitae?
Your Honor, what I have is not the curriculum vitae, but a statement of qualifications.
All right. And Ms. Kessler, if you'd retake the witnesses. You've previously been sworn and remain under oath?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Shapiro.
I'm pretty sure we saw this one too, guys. Going one more.
Of those, and as to the
And this
origin of those hairs.
There we go. Now we're good.
Yes, I do. Did the person
asked for an offer of proof, and I was asked to be able to approach because I don't want anything unfair, improper, or prejudicial to get into the record.
Face the clerk and raise your right hand.
I thought that we were on video 7. We are on... Oh, gosh, this is video 7. I rebooted, and I must have loaded the wrong video at first. We are on video 7.
You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the cause now clear before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and
Thank you, Snoopy.
I swear.
State and spell your name for the record.
My name is Stephen Schwab, S-T-E-V-E-N-S-C-H-W-A-B.
You may inquire.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Mr. Schwab.
Morning.
Directing your attention, sir, to the date of June the 12th, 1994,
Yeah.
Sunday. As of that date, sir, can you tell us where you lived?
I live on Montana Avenue. Do I need to give the exact address?
No, sir,
Thank
you
you.
don't. Did you live, was that on Montana near to Bundy?
Yes, that's on Montana between Bundy and San Vicente.
How far from the intersection of Bundy and San Vicente did you live at that date?
It's about half a block.
Oh my God, we saw this.
Do you
He's
own
the
any
neighbor.
pets, sir?
Yes, I have 2 pets. I own a dog and a cat.
He's the one that talks about the
Do you ever
dogs.
walk the dog in that neighborhood?
It wasn't.
It was not?
It was not.
Was it dark?
It was dark.
Can you describe what else you saw in that area where you saw the woman?
There was a lot of blood. I could see
only from the street light, which comes from behind. So it was pretty dark, and I have seen.
So what I'm going to do, because this jumps right into this guy started talking about something I know we just watched it yesterday, I'm going to play the very end of yesterday so that we get a little bit of overlap, and then we can get into his testimony. Okay, they do it. This is the very end of yesterday. Let me just make sure. Yeah, this is 8. So he just jumps. They just have him jump into it. Oh my God! I confused everybody.
We're once again on the record in the case of People versus Simpson. The defendant is present with counsel. The people are represented.
It wasn't.
It was not?
It was not.
So it was like very dark.
We did not see this, and they just jump right into it. They don't. They must have started the hearing and then press play later.
Was it dark?
It was dark.
Can you describe what else you saw in that area where you saw the woman?
There was a lot of blood. I could see only from the street light, which comes from behind. So it was pretty dark, and I have seen only for a quick moment, and I changed. I just turned around and never looked at it again.
If the dog had not stopped where it did, would you have looked up the path and seen her?
No.
Was there any light coming from the house near where you saw her lying?
No.
Was there any light coming from the... Excuse me, strike that. If you recall, was there a gate anywhere near where you saw the woman?
That I don't remember. I haven't seen the gate. I've just looked very low level, exactly where she was laying. So.
After you saw that, sir, did you go walking up the path towards where the woman was lying?
No.
What did you do?
I tell my wife that there is a dead person there, and we should call 911. We cross the street, run to a house to call 911. We knocked the door, nobody was there. And there was a lady who is walking to her car. We stopped her and told that she should call 911. And she said that she will call from the phone box, and she left. We didn't count on her, and we went to another house, next house, to the opposite side of the street. We knocked the door, and there was an old gentleman there. We tell him to call 911, and he called 911, and in, I guess, 2 minutes, the police car came.
Between the time that you saw the woman lying there and the time that the police came, did anyone walk up the sidewalk and up the path to approach where she was lying?
No.
Did the dog do that? Go up to where she was lying down?
No.
What did the dog do after you both saw the body?
The dog was pretty calm. I pulled the dog came with us.
When the dog looked in the direction of the woman, did it bark?
No.
series of photographs. At the moment, I'm only going to be showing the one labeled B.
All right.
I'd ask that they be marked as People's 5
Yes.
collectively. Sir, I'm showing you People's 5 for identification. Can you tell me if you recognize the scene depicted in photograph B?
Yes.
Can you tell us what that is?
This is exactly what I saw.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Can you speak up, sir?
This is exactly what I saw in that night.
Okay, is that the woman that you saw?
We saw this, didn't we?
Yes.
And that's the condition in which you saw her?
Yes.
And is that the path that you described for us?
Yes.
I have nothing further.
Mr. Ullman.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Bostep, when you walked the dog back to Bundy and proceeded south, was there any traffic? Did you encounter any automobiles?
Not that I remember. It was so quiet.
The street was quiet and empty.
Very empty.
I thought he was too.
You indicated you saw a lot of blood in the area of the pathway that the dog led you to.
Yes.
Did you observe paw prints or dog trackings in that blood?
I didn't see.
Okay. Did you make any attempt to look at the pattern of the blood that you saw?
No.
You just were aware that there was blood there?
Yes. Yes.
When you first received the dog from Mr. Schwab, did you immediately leave with the dog to go for a walk?
No, we took the dog inside of the house and we wanted to keep the dog for overnight, and then we understood that we couldn't do it.
Okay, so the first time you actually took the dog out on a leash for a walk was after you had kept it in your house for
a couple of minutes.
A couple of minutes?
Yes.
How long?
3 minutes, I can say 4 minutes.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Ms. Clark, anything else?
Just one question. Was your wife with you when you went for the walk with the big white dog and saw the woman lying on the path?
Yes.
I have nothing further.
Anything further from the defense? You may step down. I want to remind you, sir, please do not discuss your testimony with anyone but the lawyers until you have been completely excused from this action. Thank you.
People called Bettina Rasmussen?
Even in the 90s, people wore jeans to court. And
Face the
apparently
clerk,
shorts.
raise your right hand, please.
Maybe they let shorts in court when you live in Los Angeles, right?
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the cause now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes. State and spell your name for the record.
Bettina, my surname, Rasmussen.
Mankler.
Thank you. Ms. Rasmussen, are you married to Shukru Bostepi?
Yes.
And is that the man who just left this court as you came in?
Yes.
Directing your attention to the night of June the 12th, 1994, did you go with him for a walk that night?
Yes.
With a dog?
Yes.
And was that a dog that you had not previously seen before that night?
I never seen it before.
Pardon?
I never seen it before.
Do you recall where the dog led you?
It took us down of Bundy, of left side from Montana, and suddenly it dragged and somehow wanted to go to the other side of the road, and we was following, and suddenly on the other side it stopped and turned in, looked at the walkway, and my husband is turning the same way, and he's saying to me, there's a body, dead body, and I'm looking and I'm turning around very fast again.
And you saw it as well?
Yeah.
Did either of you walk up the path to where you saw the woman's body?
No.
Did the dog do that?
No.
I'm going to show you very briefly a photograph that's contained on People's 5 labeled B, and I'd like for you to tell me, if you could, if this is a scene you saw that night with your husband.
I don't remember it that way.
What's different about this photograph that you remember?
I felt it was closer on the other side of the gate, and I could see her face. It's what I remember.
This looks farther away to you.
Yeah. But I didn't stand this way. I was more on the right side.
You were standing off to an angle.
Yeah.
So if this photograph was taken from a different position than you saw, it would look different?
Maybe.
Sustained as to the form of the question.
You were not standing directly at the beginning of the path leading up to where you saw the woman?
No. My husband and dog were standing there, and I came like a little bit, I was near side and more behind, more to right side.
You were off to the right?
Yeah.
But other than that, does this look like the scene that you saw?
Yeah.
Between the time that you... Oh, strike that. Did you and your husband attempt to get the police?
I couldn't hear you.
Did you and your husband attempt to get the police?
Yeah.
Did you see the police arrive?
Yeah.
Between the time that you saw the woman and you saw the police arrive, did anyone go up that path toward where she was?
No.
That night, can you describe the lighting in the area where you saw the woman?
It was very dark, except those street lights, which is kind of yellow, and I guess it was on the other side of Bundy. So it was like very dark and like this yellow lighting, orange lighting, so it's not very bright. It was very dark.
Were there any lights on the building, the exterior of the building, that you saw her body next to?
I don't know the building, but the walkway, I don't remember if there was any light.
Very dark there?
Very dark.
Did you see any other body lying on the ground besides the woman?
No, I turned around very fast.
Now, since that night, have you driven by that location?
A couple of times, yeah.
Did you notice what the lighting was like in the pathway on those other nights after you saw the woman's body?
There's 2 lights now.
There's 2 lights that you've seen since then?
Yeah.
Where?
One in the middle of the walkway and one around the gate where you're opening.
I bought Gina Tay just a couple years ago for my mom for her birthday.
The gate.
When you say the gate by which you saw the woman's body?
Yeah.
And are those lights bright?
Not very bright. It's what's called dim or something. It's not very bright. I don't know what it's called.
But you did not see those lights on the night that you saw the woman?
No.
Had you ever gone by that location before that night?
A couple of times, a long time ago. Normally I'm not going on that way.
I'm sorry?
Normally I'm not walking on that way, but like a couple of years ago, I've been passing by at nighttime.
And do you recall what the lighting was like on those nights at that location?
I never knew about the house, and I have just been walking there to get home.
I loved
But you didn't pay attention before that night?
No.
I have nothing further.
Mr. Ullman.
Thank you. Ms. Rasmussen, you indicated when you looked at the photograph marked Exhibit 5 that the body seemed closer to you when you saw it that night?
Yeah.
Closer to you in terms of where you were standing on the sidewalk?
I saw it for such a short time, so what I remember when I'm thinking about it is that it was a kind of closer to me on your side of the gate. It's what I remember, but I saw it such a short time. It was such a big shock.
And now in the photograph, it appears further back from the gate?
Yeah.
Did you observe any paw prints in the blood that you saw on the sidewalk?
That night?
Yes.
No.
Did you look at the pattern of the blood that you saw?
That night I just looked at it, understood what it was, and I turned around very fast. So
Thank you very much. No further questions. Can you tell us whether the blood that you observed appeared to be still damp or wet, or was it dry?
that night,
When you arrived at the scene?
I was remembering as like it was coming down like a river. I mean, I saw it, and then I saw the body, and I remember like I saw like it didn't float, but it looked like it was on the way down of the walkway.
It looked as though it had flowed toward the sidewalk,
Yeah.
but you didn't see any movement in the blood at that time.
I saw it maybe a half second, and I never looked back again. So I have no idea.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Ms. Clark, anything further?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. I'm going to remind you, please do not discuss your testimony with anyone until you've been completely excused from this matter. Thank you very much.
Okay.
With respect to the remaining witnesses, Your Honor, the defense was just indicated to us this morning that there was going to be some discovery pertaining to them that they were going to give us. They have not yet given it to us. Until I receive that.
That's
excuse me.
Well, I'll let you speak in a minute, Mr. Shapiro.
Objection, Your Honor. Mr. Shapiro keeps talking when I'm talking. Yeah, I'm going to need people older than me to point out everybody in this courtroom. I don't know.
So I am able to view that information. I will not be able to examine the witnesses that are scheduled for the balance of the day.
So are you, in essence, telling me that you've run out of witnesses at this point?
Well, no, not really, Your Honor. The witnesses, I can bring them in. I haven't really run out of them, but I can't present their testimony until I know what it is that counsel's purporting to give me. I have no idea what he turned over.
Right.
He did turn it over. I haven't seen it myself.
Mr. Shapiro, you wanted to say something.
The last break, I informed Mr. Hodgman that we have 2 micro cassettes of interviews with witnesses that the people had on their witness list. We wanted to make those available, and I thought that arrangements were made to give those to the members of the police department so that they could tape recording. In any event, we have them here. These are our originals. So long as our investigator can be with them and play them, they are free to record and make duplicate.
Exactly. That's Kardashian right there. where we can't see, right here behind her, are the Goldmans. And I don't know why they're sitting so close to this side today. Maybe all the other seats were taken. But it's horrible that they have to sit so close to him.
So we have not yet received the tapes at this point.
I think we attempted to, but for some reason there was a lack of communication on how they should be delivered.
All right, so what you're saying is you have 2 half-hour, did you say half-hour cassettes?
Half-hour micro cassette tapes of witness interviews.
All right. Now, Ms. Clark, do you have the ability to play those over?
I have a tape recorder that I will provide to play.
All right. Now,
I'm sorry, there are 3 tapes. There are 3 tapes of interviews of 2 people.
Ms. Clark, what is your request at this time?
Without hearing the tapes, I don't even know what to say. If I may listen to the tapes, I can at least present one witness. But I don't know until I hear them, Your Honor. I don't know how long these tapes will take to listen to.
Now, you had first indicated there were 2 half-hour tapes. Now that there's 3, is it 3 half-hour tapes?
No, there are 2 conversations, each approximately a half hour in length. One takes up 2 tapes, each on one side only. One takes up a portion of one side.
All right. Well, at this point in time, we'll take the noon recess, and you can listen to those tapes and make whatever appropriate requests when we return at 1:30.
Thank you very much, Ryan.
I hate that noise. Hurry up. All right, if no one else is going to say it, I'm going to say it. Don't you remember in the 80s and the 90s when people were having sex in a movie, they always panned away to some random thing on the wall? And that's what they keep doing here. Hi, Michael.
All right, we're once again on the record in the case of People v. Simpson. The defendant is present with counsel. The people are represented.
Yes, Your Honor. With respect to the matter concerning the tapes, I can indicate to the court that by the time the microcassette was converted to a regular cassette, which is the only thing we can play and copy, it was already about 1:45. So we have not had an opportunity to listen to the tape. However, I listened to one of the tapes, and it would appear that the date of the recording was June 14th, and we only just received discovery. Well, the court was present when we finally got the tapes in our hands about an hour and a half ago. Although discovery obviously could have been made sooner, it has not, and I cannot in good conscience proceed forward with a witness being unprepared in this fashion. I'm going to have to listen to the tape as to each witness. Furthermore, there are other matters that I think we should take up in chambers. And with respect to discovery, I have here discovery concerning the events that transpired in Chicago involved in this investigation. Numbered pages CH1 through 259. And they also include one cassette tape. And I'm turning it over to the defense in the middle envelope this time.
All right, with reference to your request to have a conference in chambers, can you give the court some indication as to what subject matter you wish to discuss in chambers?
No, Your Honor, I cannot. But it is urgent. It is urgent that I speak to the court on the record in chambers. I think it would be imprudent of me to address this matter in the court.
All right, then I will go in chambers. If I make a determination immediately on, in terms of that discussion, that it's one that should be in open court, then we will immediately return to the open court.
Thank you very much.
We also have a matter to discuss, but in open court.
Do you want to do that now?
Your Honor, we had filed an ex parte application to be permitted material witness visits with Mr. Simpson in the attorney rooms and over the weekends, and Your Honor entered that order. I was contacted by Deputy Cook at the Sheriff's Department, and he said that he wanted to have a face-to-face meeting with us on Tuesday, and until we could have that meeting, we would not be permitted to have witness visits with Mr. Simpson over the weekend. And as you know, the preliminary hearing will be resuming on Tuesday, and it's essential that we be permitted to meet with Mr. Simpson to prepare a defense.
All right. Do you have the telephone number for this particular deputy?
Yes, I do.
And can we? That's
part of it.
Okay. Can we contact him and perhaps tell him that I'd like him to come down as soon as possible to the courtroom? Okay. Is there anything beyond
No, that's
that?
it.
All right. Then I will see counsel with the reporter in chambers.
Oh, I hope we get to see that.
Versus Simpson, the defendant is present with counsel. The people are represented. At this time, Ms. Clark, you've indicated to the court that you need additional time in order to listen to those tapes in order to be prepared to present additional witnesses.
Yes, Your Honor.
And it's my understanding that you're requesting that the court adjourn these proceedings until Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock. Is that correct? All right. Any objection from the defense?
Your Honor, we have no objection, but we want the record to indicate that we are not waiving our right to speak in the hearing.
Yes, I certainly understand that, and please be assured that the court is devoting its full attention to this matter and no others.
We have no doubt about that, Your Honor. I just want the record to protect our rights.
All right. I would also state that there have been certain people's exhibits that have been marked this morning for evidence. They have not been introduced into evidence, and at this time they are in the custody of the clerk, and there will be no access to any one until such time as they are received and until a ruling is ultimately made as to the appropriate access for those exhibits. But at this time, they will remain in the custody of the court clerk. All right, everyone have a pleasant holiday, and we will see you all bright and early on Tuesday morning. Thank you.
So they're all celebrating 4th of July now, while we are celebrating cold weather in December. Okay, I don't know what happened at the beginning. I don't know what's going on with the audio. I think it was a StreamYard thing, but sorry. Let's see what number we're stopping at, so we're sure next time. Okay, we just did 8. So we're going to start at number 9 tomorrow and do number 9. Now we all know. Now we won't bumble around. And, yeah, if you just got in at the end, I do play the Bronco chase at the beginning, and it's excellent. It's excellent. So go ahead and rewind it and watch that. All right, guys. Judge Fleischer should start any minute now, if he hasn't already. No, he hasn't. So I shall see you all soon, probably in Discord. And if not, I'll see you tomorrow morning. Thank you for coming out, guys. Thank you so much. Goodbye.